This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about raising rates, and not just your service account rates, but rates across the board, and how to do this effectively, and some reasons why you want to do this on a consistent basis. If you're looking to expand your pool service or get support out in the field, or if you just want one-on-one coaching, join my coaching program with over 270 members and growing. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. There's an old expression used a lot to talk about a business that's not making money, and that's the expression you're out there spinning your wheels. And I think in some cases, this could be the case if you're running a business and you're paying your bills, of course, but you don't show a profit. Now, the one reason why you're in business for yourself, while you're working out there doing pool service, is because you want to make more money than what you would make if you were working a W-2 job or working for maybe a corporation and getting a salary. Now, if you can't make more money or don't have the benefits from working your own business or working for yourself, then you probably shouldn't be working for yourself and you should do something else. Now, there are some benefits and tangible benefits of having your own pool service business. One of those is that you have more freedom and time management. You can take time off to go see your son's Little League game. If it starts early, you can get off early. There's a parent-teacher conference in the middle of the day. You can make it to that. You can also take vacations when you want to take them without having to schedule them with your employer. So those are those benefits. There are, of course, expenses associated with running your own business. You have higher insurance costs, you have higher health insurance costs, you have other expenses, and you have no safety net. So if your business fails because of something you're doing or not doing out there, more particularly things that you're not doing correctly, then you have really no income at that point, and you'll have to go out and get a regular job at that point. So there are some detriments to having your own business as well as many benefits. For that reason, you need to make more money doing it because of the fact that you are having to take on a lot more responsibility and a lot more risk. And the higher profit should be your reward for the higher risk you're taking by having your own business. Now, one of the things that you have to consider is that everything is going up out there, and it's something that happens all the time. If you have a house, you probably gotten a bill from your homeowner's insurance saying that your fire insurance rates have gone up or your flood insurance rates have gone up. If you have a car, I'm sure you've gotten a notice saying that your car or truck insurance is going up this year. If you go to the grocery store, they don't make any big announcements. They don't send you letters from Walmart saying, hey, we're raising the price of eggs today, or the price of almond milk just went up by $1. And you just see that on the sticker, reflected on the sticker. There's no notification. So in some respects, a lot of places where you go to do business at, In-N-Out Burger raised their prices recently. Starbucks seems like they're raising their price every month. You're going to see noticeable increments in those kind of businesses where they raise prices without notifying anybody. You know, you'll see sometimes the mom and pop restaurants here in California. There's a lot of them here. I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but I've gotten into some before where the menu board has like electrical tape over the price because they just raise it and they don't have no way of changing it. Other times they'll have like old stickers where the price used to be and you can still see like where it was a 5, now it's a 8. You know, there's all these things that probably could be done a lot better. If I was running the place, I would make it a lot smoother. No one would notice. In-N-Out Burger does a great job of this. You don't notice that things went up in price because they have such nice menus, and Chick-fil-A also raised their prices recently. What I'm saying is that everyone's raising their prices, and if you don't raise your prices, you're falling behind. Inflation is not technically 4% as the media is telling you. As you know, it's a lot higher. The factors they use to calculate it are outdated, they're archaic. Inflation is probably a lot higher than that, maybe 9 or 10%, but they're using this 4% number It's something that doesn't equate to everything out there either. I mentioned the grocery store, everything is more expensive. Fuel costs are more expensive. Here in California, we're going to get a new tax on our gas, and it's going to raise everything by 90 cents per gallon, which is going to be pretty expensive for gasoline here in California next year or sometime next year when that goes into effect. So these things all are factors in your business. You have to put fuel in your vehicle. You have to pay for your insurances that have gone up. You have to pay for your supplies that have gone up in price. Everything has been going up and will continue to go up, and your rate should reflect that. So what should you do to make sure you're keeping up with everything? Well, you have to do an analysis. This is pretty easy to do. It's a simple profit and loss. You can get these forms on Etsy. That's my favorite place to get profit and loss forms is Etsy. They have a lot of different forms. If you go to Etsy.com and you go to, you just type in profit and loss forms, there'll be a lot of different people selling them. Download one of these, pay the $5 or $8 for it, and then start putting in the numbers, your fuel costs, your insurance costs, your health insurance costs, the cost of chlorine, acid, anything that's associated with your business as a cost, put it in there. At the other column, put in all the income that you're getting every month and see what happens at the very bottom and how much profit you're supposed to have at the bottom. And if that number doesn't feel good to you, it's probably not good at that point. And then you have to do something to rectify that. How do you rectify it? Well, there's two ways of rectifying not having enough profit. One is to get more pools. So if you're at 70 pools and you want to make more money, then of course, bring 80 pools or get 10 more pools to bring it up to 80 pools, and you're going to increase your income, and you're going to maybe increase your expenditure slightly, but you're going to have more income at that point. The other thing you can do is raise the rates on your customer to compensate for the lack of profit. This is something that you can do easily without creating more work for yourself, and you may even create less work for yourself if a few customers drop. Now, I like using the 10% rule here. If you raise your rates and you lose 10% of your customers, you're going to have more pools, but you're going to have maybe a little bit more money as well. And here I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about so that you get the idea that it's not the end of the world if you raise your rates and a customer cancels. Let's say, hypothetically, you have 60 accounts and you charge $150 a month. So 60 times 150 is $9,000. Let's say they want to raise the rate to 165, which is not unreasonable. That's a fair increase. So you go to 165 times 60 accounts. That'll give you $9,900. So that's $900 more a month for raising the rate on those 60 accounts. But let's just say that 6 customers cancel because they don't like the higher rate. Now that's a straight 10%. You probably won't have that many customers dropping. Maybe 2 would drop, maybe none will drop. But let's just say 6 of them cancel because they don't like the fact that you raised the rate by $15. Well, if you do 6 times 150, that's $900. So you're still receiving $9,000 a month now because you raised the rate on everyone else. But you have 6 less pools. Now you're down to 54 pools, which means you can easily add 6 more pools to your route to bring it back up, and you would charge the new customers the higher rate, the $165 per account. But let's be reasonable here. And I would say about 2 customers are going to drop. Really, effectively, that's probably maybe even less in some cases. But you drop 2, so that's $300 you're going to lose. But now you're getting $9,600. So you have 2 less accounts, which gives you more time, and you're getting $600 more per month still because you raised your rates. So that's one reason why the burger places or the fast food places or the restaurants raise their prices, and they don't really worry too much about it. Let's say they lose a couple customers a day because they don't want to pay the higher price. They got to eat somewhere else, and that's fine. But since everyone else is paying a higher price for their food, that 2 or 3 customers that don't want to eat there that day because of the higher price don't really matter because they're making more per customer that they have currently. And that's the same concept with your pool business. That's the same reason why your auto insurance agent raises the rates. And they don't really care if you cancel. They kind of care, but it doesn't really hurt them because everyone else is paying more money and they can compensate for that loss. Now, if you raise your rates and go crazy and you raise them too high, then you lose, 10 customers, then you're actually losing money at that point. So I would really analyze how much your customers can tolerate. Maybe ask family members or friends or neighbors and say, hey, if I was doing your pool and I raised it by $15, would you cancel? And most people will say, nah, that's not a big deal. Then you say, I'm going to raise it by 30. A lot of them are going to be like, yeah, I would cancel and I would shop around at least. So you want to make sure that you don't do anything crazy to lose accounts. At the same time, if naturally someone doesn't want to pay the higher rate, you lose that account. If you lose less than 10%, you actually have a net gain there of more time, and you can, of course, charge more for your rate to the new customer that you bring on board. Now, how often should you raise rates? Well, once a year would be sufficient in most cases. If you wanted to skip a year and do it every other year, I don't see a problem with that as long as you're keeping up with inflation. There's no way to really know unless you're doing a profit and loss statement. You don't need to pay for a course or do anything fancy. Again, just get one of these spreadsheets, Google Sheets from Etsy, plug in your numbers, and it's pretty basic to figure out, how much you have to raise your rates by to make a profit, what's reasonable, how often you have to raise them. And as long as you're keeping track of all your numbers, you just have to do this profit and loss at the beginning of the season, maybe, and maybe somewhere near the middle or end of the season to get an idea for next year, so you know what you have to do and where you have to adjust your income and your losses so that you're making a profit. Another way to increase your profit is with the services that you offer besides pool cleaning. For instance, if you do filter cleaning and you charge $85 per filter cleaning, bringing those up to $95 will, of course, effectively add more money per filter cleaning. So let's say you do 60 filters and, of course, you add $10 to that times $10. You've increased it by $600. You do that twice a year. That's going to be $1,200 a year. That does add up to more money significantly. But there's also another strategy that a lot of pool companies are doing, and that is cleaning the filters every 4 months or 3 times a year. So effectively, you can, of course, go up $1,200 a year by doing it twice a year. And if you like cleaning filters, I don't, so I don't do this. I don't do more than every 6 months. But if you don't mind cleaning the filters every 4 months, there's no harm in it, and it's probably better for the pool. And it's kind of what the manufacturer recommends. I think they recommend every 3 or 4 months for the larger filters, DE filters, and the quad cartridge filters. So you're not doing anything that's not recommended by the manufacturer. But if you wanted to do this and increase it by $10 and then increasing by one more filter clean, you're going to have $1,800 more a month. Now, I don't like cleaning filters. There was one of my group members that didn't like cleaning filters either, and he did his filters once a year. It was kind of crazy, but he hated cleaning them. But there's money there for you if you wanted to increase the filter cleaning charge and increase the amount of filter cleanings on your route. Another thing you can do is charge for salt cell cleaning. I haven't done this, and I kind of missed the boat on this, and so I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. But a lot of people charge $35 or $55 to clean the salt cell. It does take time. I kind of do it when I do the filter, or I kind of do it when I'm cleaning the pool, so it's not like a big deal for me. But there is money there. There's extra money. So if you clean 10 salt cells a month, that's $350. If you're charging $35, $350 over the course of the season. I mean, $350 times 12. You're looking at $4,200. So I'm losing some money there by not implementing that myself. I feel bad that I haven't and I'm not doing that, but it's kind of hard for me to change because I've just been doing it at no charge. But you can do that and make some extra money. And then you, of course, have to set a good hourly rate for services. Now, what I mean by this is if someone wants you to do something for them that's not part of the service, you should charge them for that. If they want you to install or fix their chlorinator because there's parts that need to be changed. These are little things. Let's say the cleaner's not working. You can charge for that. I do that for free. A lot of pool companies will just do cleaner repairs for free. But if you do charge for stuff like that, you can get a good rate, hourly rate. Setting your hourly rate is not that difficult. What I do is I look for local plumbers and see what they're charging. Right now, they're charging anywhere from $80 to $90 per hour for, unclogging a drain. I think one's advertising for $88. So yeah, that's a pretty good rate. $88 for the service call. You could charge the same thing for a service call to go back there and do something. If you're doing a one-time cleanup, you want to charge an hourly rate as well. And usually that takes about, depending on how bad the pool is, an hour or two. So let's charge the hourly rate for that. But you want to make sure you're capturing as much money as you can for your services that you're providing, because you can leave money on the table and people don't mind paying for services. That's something that I think we kind of think that, oh, if I charge them for this, they're going to get upset. Or if I tell them that it's going to be $95 an hour, they're not going to hire me. Well, we pay that already for plumbers. My electrician charges $180 an hour. So it's one of those things where I know that there's worth in paying somebody to do something. And of course, the hourly rate will vary, but you have to get paid for your time and your effort. You're driving over there, you're getting out of your truck, you're going back there, you're fixing something. Even if it's something that takes 10 minutes, you still have to make the effort to go get the part, get over there, fix the part, and then, of course, drive to your next stop. So there is some compensation for you there. So don't leave that money on the table. Now, you're not nickel and diming everybody. You're not like the mom and pop burger places that charges 30 cents for ranch. In fact, Cane's just raised their cane sauce price. I think it's 48 cents every time you want an extra cane sauce now. That's, to me, nickel and diming. I don't think you should do that, but you, of course, should get your fair rate for the services that you provide. And you should raise your rates accordingly when you need to make sure you're making a profit. Every year would be acceptable. Every other year is acceptable. I mean, during COVID, a lot of us had to raise our rates twice in 1 year, which was really painful for us to do and painful for the customers. But when the tablets were $300 for a 50-pound bucket and, chlorine was going crazy and you were searching everywhere for chemicals, it just was something that you had to pass on to the customer. And everyone passes on the higher cost to you as a consumer, and you're going to pass on your higher cost in your pool business to the consumer, which is your pool service client. If you're looking for other podcasts that I have recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. That'll take you to a drop-down menu of other podcasts I've recorded. And if you're interested in my coaching program, I should say, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Real quick, if you're not using pool service software, try Skimmer free for 30 days at getskimmer.com/poolguy. Again, that's getskimmer.com/poolguy. Skimmer, everything you need to run your pool service business all in one app.